we're going to talk about 10 wide receivers that you can get off the waiver wire for week 6 that can help you set your lineups, help you add depth to your team, and also some of those lottery tickets that could go boom later in the season. But what you need to do right now is click that subscribe button, tap it with your finger on your phone, click it with your mouse, whatever you got to do. We're doing deep dives on these players every day. These lesser known players, guys off waivers, are going deep into their metrics. We're going over the waiver wire extensively throughout the week. We're helping you set your lineups, helping you win trades and everything else. Click that button. Stop missing out. Let's look at the week 6 waiver wire at the wide receiver spot here. And the first player we're looking at, Josh Downs, rookie wide receiver of the Colts. He's been getting some opportunity lately. 6.6 targets per game and a good 20% target share. Gardner Minshew's now in. Anthony Richardson's out due to being hurt. Minshew spreads the ball a little bit. That's going to be more targets flowing to Josh Downs, giving him even more opportunity. He runs 83% of his snaps in the slot. Minshew targets the slot a little bit. So this is a good match here with a quarterback and wide receiver. He's also running a lot of routes. He's a good part of the offense. Plus matchups, you're looking at Downs as a guy to gamble with in your lineup, and he's getting opportunities where he can give you more production later on down the road. Now we're looking at Jameson Williams, the ultimate lottery ticket in fantasy football right now. He should be rostered in your league, but there are also a lot of leagues where he's sitting on waivers. About 50% of the leagues he's on waivers, 50% of the leagues he's rostered, but he saw 28 snaps last week, a 46.7% snap share, saw 3 targets, which was 11% share of the targets, ran just 15 routes and 3 air yards. They kept it short. They were hoping he was going to break something loose. However, this is a deep ball city candidate. This is a guy with the Will Fuller effect, where on any of those deep targets, they connect. It's going to be a splash week, a huge game, and if it doesn't, then it's going to be a bust game. A boom-bust type of player in his profile. Amon-Ra St. Brown, when he's back, he's still going to eat. We're going to get targets flowing to the tight end, to the running backs. This offense got a lot of weapons, but the deep balls, on any given play, any given moment, those plus matchups, Jameson Williams could be a guy to tinker with in lineups later on down the season. Next, Quinton Johnson, another lottery ticket play here, week 4. His first game with Mike Williams out of the lineup due to that injury, he saw 50.8% of the snaps, saw 3 targets at 12.5% target share. Third in line on targets among wide receivers, 53 air yards. Josh Palmer was to get off waivers there. He averages 13 fantasy points per game when Mike Williams is out of the lineup. The thing about Quinton Johnson, he's a lottery ticket. And the thing is, if he hits, he'll hit big. And we're talking about 18 to 20 fantasy points per game versus like 13. But he could also fall on his face and get you 0 points per game or barely anything per game. You don't want that, but you do want to chase upside somewhere in your depth chart there, whether it's at running back or wide receiver. And this is a guy you may want to do it with. They're coming off a bye. This is a high volume, high potent team. Keenan Allen gets nicked up a lot, especially here in the latter part of his career. That's something you want to think about. He's starting to get more opportunities. This could be a thing where Johnston starts providing more production last few weeks of the season, and that could help you get over the hump into the playoffs, but we don't know, and it's also a question, how long can you hold him? But he's there, and he's a high-end lottery ticket. Elijah Moore, he got released to the waiver wire a lot last week due to him on bye and due to him scoring 7.5 fantasy points per game. But the workload's tremendous, a 21.6% target share. He's getting volume in this offense. He's seeing 7 targets a game. You want that from your wide receivers. There's plus matchups where the Browns are throwing the ball. He's going to be getting opportunities. He's going to have some opportunities to score some touchdowns later in the season. He's going to be having some moments where he's giving you double-digit fantasy points. He only hit that mark once so far on the year. But again, there's going to be more opportunities coming because he's already getting the opportunities. The points just have to come. And if you're going to see over a 20% target share, the points are going to be coming eventually. Now we're looking at Zay Jones. In week 5, when he came back, he saw 5 targets and a 13.5% target share and 37 air yards. He's getting volume in this offense, especially when we saw him come out in week 1. And then we got Kirk, we got him. We got pieces in this offense that are taking away some of the workload. But if you're looking for a free get, some consistency, a veteran who's getting volume in a high volume passing offense that can move the chains, who's going to be in it down the line, who's really going to be trying to contend in games throughout the whole season, especially in the back nine of the season, Zay Jones could be a guy you want to look at. Now, Wan'Dale Robinson has been back just for a few weeks, but instantly has been taken off when it comes to workload metrics because he's been getting targets. In his first game, he saw 5 targets. His second game, he saw 6 targets. And last week, he saw 6 targets, averaging 5.7 a game, 18.1% target share, 51 air yards per game. He gets a lot of short targets, but you can also sling it deep to him as well. We saw that at Kentucky. We saw that a little bit last year. He's back from an ACL injury, and he's already a key proponent to the offense, only averaging 7.6 PPR points per game, but still, it's the Giants. We don't really trust them, but we like seeing workload from the wide receivers, and he's getting a fair amount of workload considering he's only 3 games back from an ACL injury and still being a heavy hitter in this offense, seeing almost a 20% target share, something you want to pay attention to. Now we're looking at Curtis Samuel because he's been hot these last few weeks. He's got you 18 fantasy points in his last 2 games, and the production's there. The snap share's there, seeing 5.4 targets a game and a 15% target share. This team is spreading the ball around a lot, but Samuel's getting opportunities where he can get yards, where he can get catches, reel it in, averaging 12 fantasy points per game. Jahan Dotson hasn't been hitting. Dahami Brown's getting a little extra targets than expected. This team is moving the ball to the tight end as well. Curtis Samuel, though, is getting opportunity here as late. His least targeted game was 3 targets, but you're seeing him get 7 targets, 8 targets, 5 targets, 4 targets. So there's opportunity in this offense for him to excel, especially in plus matchups. Now we're looking at Michael Wilson. He's rostered in just 25% of ESPN leagues. People were not looking at the hype. They were not into it, especially in your basic casual leagues. He plays on 69% of the snaps, runs on 75% of the routes ran on this team. Getting opportunity, getting volume. Odds are saying that he's going to score more touchdowns this year. He's going to be up and down due to this offense, due to how this offense flows. With 4 targets a game, it's hard to rely on him as a consistent option. But a guy great for DFS, a great guy to play the matchups with. If you're hurting at wide receiver, if you're looking for a young guy to get more opportunity later in the season, Michael Wilson might be a guy you want to put a chip on. Now we're looking at Jonathan Mingo, another young wide receiver you may want to put a chip on. He's back from the concussion protocol and was productive when he came back, seeing 7 targets and a 20% target share, saw 75 air yards, and prior to the concussion, he was getting opportunity as well. When you look at the targets here, first game 5 targets, second game 8 targets, third game 6 targets, then he was out, then he's getting 7 targets, he's getting volume, he's getting opportunity. Eventually that's going to click, so you may want to gamble on that in DFS. You may want to add him in a lineup when it's a plus matchup if you're hurting on bye weeks. Maybe something down the line, things are going to click with Jonathan Mingo. But if you're seeing a 20% target share throughout the season, there are going to be games where you naturally just hit, especially when you're seeing 75 to 80 air yards a game. Now we're looking at Rashod Rice. We talked about him last week. Still on the waiver wire in a lot of leagues. He did not get picked up in a lot of leagues. I think a lot of people are going to be chasing those fantasy points and pick him up if they see him on there this week in week 6. 4.8 targets a game, 13.2% target share. I've been saying this about the Chiefs wide receivers all off season and into the early part of this year when I was talking about him, Sky Moore, a bunch of other pass catchers on this team, is that these wide receivers are going to be up and down throughout the year, and it's just going to be a pick-em thing because you do not know where Patrick Mahomes is going to be slinging the rock to. Rashod Rice, I keep saying it wrong, so I got to correct myself to fix that. However, Rice is leading this team in targets and target share among the wide receivers. That's something you want to look at. He's getting opportunity, and he's giving you a good performance every other game. And that's good enough for the back end of your roster, especially sitting there on waivers. Why not pick him up? Why not take a look? We already got a trend here. Every other game, you're getting double-digit points. If you need that, if that's something you're wanting for your fantasy team, you need 10 fantasy points, 11, 12, 13. That's a guy you may want to look at, and you're probably going to get it every other game for the rest of the season. Those are 10 wide receivers that we're looking to pluck off the waiver wire this week for week 6. Let me know who you're trying to get in the comments below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Stop missing out. I want to thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.